Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly referee today, because today we're carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's outstanding science fiction RPG, Traveler, 2nd edition. And we are playing through, in part, material, or an adventure that is taking material from Module 5, the Borderland Run. Reach Adventure 5, the Borderland Run, as well as the Pirates of Drinax box set and the just released the Borderland sourcebook. So if any of that stuff is you want to keep free from spoilers for yourself, you will be proceeding with caution. We may have some spoilers in this session. If you don't care about that, well then welcome, and allow me to introduce you to the stars of today's session, the crew of the Rift Wanderer itself. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, we've got James.
I'm Captain Ganny, the engine room maestro and captain of the Rift Wanderer.
Very nice. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm playing Dr. Ilyas Abdel, part owner of the Rift Wanderer, physician, and alleged master spy.
Slowly coming around to it. Next up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Alonzo Santoro, author and desired dinner guest.
And last, but certainly not least, is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm playing Laris Zathu, who is a Darien, fair way from his home systems, an analyst, and I keep having to remind myself, possibly, the gunner. Let's hope I never have to use that skill.
We have Carl joining us a little later, too. He just ran a little bit behind. But guys, this is part 10 of our Pirates of Drinax arc of our campaign. What happened last time, guys? I'll bring everybody over to the surface of the... Well, not the surface of Drinax, but in the flying city. The flying palace of King Oleb. And where the heck is that? Here we go. Oh, guys here.
Oh, man.
It did involve a dinner party.
I know, I'm just trying to get the names of the... I know it was hosted by my good friend Lee Masu.
Correct.
But I don't remember the other two characters' names.
Captain Yali Osmond and Lieutenant Mohara Akari.
Oh, there they are. They're right at the top. Yeah. And we had a very nice dinner. Anchor asked lots of questions that were well received. The captain enjoyed his booze and really liked to talk. And we definitely are thinking that he is a sympathizer and probably some sort of co-conspirator with the what are they called again?
The Zodani?
The Zodani, yes.
That's not good.
No.
Oh yeah, Captain, you need a debriefing. That's correct.
Yes, we do believe that they are involved.
My little black book will come out.
Mm.
And yes, your number is marked.
I don't know if there was anything like very specific that would give it away, or just sort of like over the course of the entire conversation, we really learned their feelings and their...
Yeah, I think he started going off on a... almost like, staring through into the abyss, and the abyss staring back of how he sort of kind of admires the Zodani society and how it hasn't lost its way, unlike the, Cathed Imperium, and it started going into a very sort of, respect. And he had a bit to drink, and I think at one stage his first mate was like, maybe let's change the topic now, and he was getting all fired up about how, maybe the Zodani have it right and
a greater purpose.
Yes, and they haven't. Yeah, everyone knows what they're doing, and they have purpose and discipline, and it's so much better than...
So better organised.
It is probably better than Captain Gani wasn't there.
He did speak about the Zodani initially in the war stories like you would expect from kind of an old war horse, complete with imperial slurs for the Zodani. But yeah, it did land in a very different and more, if not respectful, at least appreciative, I guess, perspective. Anything else you guys drew from the dinner party? There was another expedition that occurred.
There was.
We got to use the deck plans as a dungeon crawl last time, James.
Oh dear. Yeah, so I for a moment I was Captain Yali Osmond, or at least a simulacrum field version of him, accompanied by Ultima One, Yuri, who was essentially screened off and invisible, and the two of us managed to find our way by hook or by crook onto their ship. The purpose being to effectively kind of get the personal journal records off the ship without being too obvious. That was successful. So we managed to get on. Essentially, we were successful. We managed to get on. We managed to get through. Now, I will say, and I will admit that apart from having absolute kittens, Laris managed to do it, but he did have to walk past a crew member as Captain Yali Osmond at the same time that Captain Yali Osmond was at the dinner party. So that incongruity may not be lost on the crew subsequent to me coming away. So we came away. You know, it could have been worse, is what I would say. We had a look at the records, I think briefly towards the end of the session, and that kind of just simply reinforced and confirmed, in a sense, what was being discussed. So there was significant, what we would probably call courier activity that presupposed operations in support of the Zodani activity to extract psionic gifted people in various stages, whether willingly or otherwise. We think possibly otherwise in places.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think we also found out that one of the younger crew members or relatives of a crew member is also psychic, which might have something to do with why they all quit service at the same time and took up. And I think we also found out they're definitely working for the Zodani, and there was a reference to something called the Ghost, which might be a base or ship or somewhere that there are other ships in the region that are active in this network.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Also, not too while Laris's infiltration skills were still, a work in progress. His computer skills is really the thing that absolutely assisted with gaining access to this encrypted thing in such a timely way, and being able to get out without leaving any trace behind too. So, Laris definitely was nervous at certain points for it too, but where he excels, he excelled.
Yeah.
Anything else that happened last time? There was some discussion at the end of what to do with this information and how you felt about Captain Osmond. Captain Osmond definitely, he very much liked Anchor. Anchor started the dinner off with quite a bit of flattery, and he very much took to Anchor, because Anchor did seem to know quite a bit about what he was doing. And actually, I think, Alonso, you also left a really good impression, did you not?
Yeah, I rolled a really high diplomacy, I believe,
like
on
carousing,
convincing
maybe?
them, or carousing, to get them to stay and drink more at the end when we learned that that more time was needed.
Yeah.
And I think that really won them over and got them pretty happy with the overall visit. I think they will be until they get back to their ship. But
I think
there may be some suspicion after that point.
the only, as you say, incongruity that you're aware of is the one crew member seeing the captain. I don't think anybody else. Laris did erase the or write over the camera information. So there's there's no record of him accessing it through the cargo lift. There's no photographic evidence of him being there, and you also got someone else to sign in for use someone else's name to sign in for who was servicing the dock. So there's not even like a fake name to be used there. So
No.
anything else that the captain needs to be aware of that developed last session? We're still 3 days off from Alonso's friends with Peerless Passage arriving, and an as yet undetermined amount of time for the spies and Evie to arrive.
The only thing we learned, which isn't consequential at all, is that this dinner might have been meant as a possible romantic or tete-a-tete between Lima Sue and Alonso. So she wasn't entirely super pleased when he invited a whole bunch of others along.
That is true. That didn't go over the best.
We've got 3 days, mate. We've got 3 days.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Then,
oh my goodness.
unless there's anything else we're missing from the summary, why don't we have everyone give us a D6 roll, and let's see how much luck you guys are working with today. It's a good start.
Oh, a lot of fun.
So 15, not bad. And then when Carl gets on, we'll have him roll as well. So, Captain, we can assume that maybe we're sitting around. Let me bring you over to the Rift Wanderer here. So we're sitting around the Rift Wanderer, completing your debrief. Solomon, I think, is still watching to keep take notes. If you were to guess, it may be that he just wants to feel productive because he's not taking part in the infiltration of the dinner party. He's not breaking into the thing and whatnot. So, for a guy who has been tracking this woman relatively solo for the last few months, perhaps he just needs to be feeling productive. He's also feeling a lot better since Dr. Ilias helped deal with the symptoms of the psi suppressors. So he's probably likewise feeling more like himself for the first time in months and months as well. So it's just you guys, just the crew sitting around. Captain, have you any thoughts on what you've learned thus far relating to Captain Osmond or the intel that was secured from the Banam?
Well, did he give any reasons as to why he had this shift in sentiment? Any clues there? It's not
Clues.
obvious as to why one would suddenly have this
I don't
change
know.
of sentiment.
It didn't feel sudden. It felt like he had some disagreements with the leadership of the Imperial, would they be the Navy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, just the way that it went, he must have made, not necessarily friends, but he made allies on the other side, and I don't know. That's the impression I got anyway.
Okay. Just intriguing as to how he made those. The first one makes sense. So how did he make allies of Zordani?
Right.
Kind of what you're saying is what turned him.
Exactly. What being disaffected with your bosses. That sounds normal.
Right.
I didn't always see eye to eye with mine, hence my leaving. But
It's like I find
bastards.
It's so puzzling.
But it doesn't
You
make me go
Imperials.
to the Zordani.
I don't know. You Imperials, I don't know. The amount of sort of conflict and so on, it's perplexing. I don't understand.
I don't understand why you guys don't
Travis,
just.
would you like me to demonstrate?
What you guys really
I can picture it.
what you really need to do is just develop a star-destroying weapon, and then suddenly everybody is compliant with what you want to do. So.
Well, then actually everyone hates you, but don't like to admit it.
Do psionic abilities normally emerge at around the same age in humans?
It depends. So they can be tested very early on. It's not like depending on the society that you grow up in, and depending on how rigorous the testing is, you can identify it at an early age and then encourage it and encourage developments at an early age. But it's not something that is routinely tested for across the Imperium. And it is certainly, Alonso is a perfect example of someone who he could have had some latent ability for a very, very long time, and it's never really prompted, and then when it is, and it's been identified, then you realize that, oh, no, this is something, this is a muscle that responds.
Yeah, because I think Dr. Ellis will be wondering if, because that younger crew member, who I think, if I remember correctly, is a relative of one of the others, maybe when their powers manifested, it shifted people's point of views. But I know if there's an easy one, they always manifest at 12, so we can't go.
No, it could be. I think Alonso was in
the amount of time that they left service, so it correlates to.
Yep.
But but maybe it could be that that personal connection is what initially brought about that change in mindset.
Alonso, what was it like for you to find in your 30s that you were suddenly part of a persecuted minority within the Imperium?
Yeah, that part was scary. I think like he had already been like an investigative journalist who sort of walked the edges of society and exposed, things, and so he had enemies. But now it felt like anyone could be an enemy, like as in anyone could be willing to turn him in. Didn't like an article he wrote, or didn't like something about him, and they could turn him in, and he'd be guilty of a crime, so to speak, without having done anything. And so, yeah, I think it was very scary for him.
Well, the thing to remember too for how telepaths, like you kind of, absent any kind of relatively advanced technology, you do need a telepath to detect another telepath, but it's the kind of thing you can pick up in a crowded room, right? Because psychics are the only ones who can close their minds off to casual, listening in. And at default, psychics do that. So when you walk into a room and you've got a deadening silence from one or two people, if you're a telepath, you automatically would know that.
Right.
So it would mean the first time you would come across a telepath, or other times you come across a telepath, they would know, because your instinctive reaction would be to keep your mind closed. It's the reason that Solomon was drugging himself, because by removing his things, he can then have an open mind, and absent an actual mind scan, no one's going to know that he's actually a secret telepath.
Right.
The alternative is to leave yourself open for that, but that's also leaving yourself open for not only being exactly, right. And it's an unnatural, it's the equivalent of wandering around naked.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
I suppose it's a mixed picture as well, because there are psionics who don't have telepathy.
Yeah.
But have other abilities. So in a way, the telepaths mutually, as you say, can kind of see the gaps and therefore see each other, but it doesn't necessarily clear you of those with telekinesis or other
teleportation.
Yeah.
Well, and Alonso's powers are very weak, and so I think that it's more that he was shown that he had them by that that psychic society that he was working with for that article, more so than like, it's not that they developed at that point, he just discovered them at that point. They had probably always been there, just, you know, so weak that they were,
Yeah.
you know, useless almost, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Or close to useless.
So I guess then that's the, if it is the young, if one of the young people did have a like latent development, the military is one of those places where they would be scanning. They would be checking for that. So it is unlikely someone could get that far in there absent any kind of, I mean, perhaps you can get through like boot camp or things like that, but any sort of promotions or any sort of place of importance, I can't imagine they wouldn't be scanning for that type of thing. So it's unlikely they could have, whatever level within the Imperial military they achieved, it's unlikely they would have done so while being psychically active. And I think you also notice that they were not particularly strong either.
Yeah.
Not to pick on you further, Alonso, but you're the psychic version of the guy who gets sand kicked in his face on the beach.
Totally. Yeah.
So is this guy.
Right.
So what does that mean as far as your plans with Captain Osmond?
What we're going to do?
How long do we need to decipher the information off the drives we stole?
Oh, we did roll for that, I thought.
30 hours to look through the data.
Okay, 30 hours.
Oh, so maybe we're only... Yeah, so we have a day to fill in of stuff, but I think that you did find the results of that. So maybe we're 2 days off from the arrival of the... what do you call it? The Peerless Passage folks.
So what do we want to do?
Exactly. What do we want to do? Now we've got all this. We've got all the stuff. It's just, what do we do with it? I mean, I'm assuming we want to intercept and prevent. Is that still what we want to do? Having heard Captain Yali Osman's views, his continuing activities.
My main concern is for the well-being of the young woman involved in this. I understand that there are implications for Imperial reconnaissance that might be involved in this, but yes, ideally we would ascertain the safety and the well-being of EV.
Mm-hmm.
Which would require an intercept and prevent.
Yeah. How we do that and how far the ripples spread, it's a separate consideration.
Dr. Ilias, would you mind giving us an education and medic check, please?
If you ever need Captain Yali Osmond again, of course, I am at your service.
There you go.
If you want to spend 2 points, there's interesting, or 2 points of luck. There's a potentially interesting tidbit that may come up here.
Yeah, everyone is happy with that?
Yeah, I think
go.
so. Yeah, for sure.
So Alonso is talking about the contact. What you're not, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to speak to them while they're in jump, but you know that your contact is a guy named Billings Doherty, Dr. Billings Doherty. I'll put that in chat here. Let's see here. You mentioned that Doherty is one of the main contacts you had with Peerless Passage. And Dr. Ilias, when you hear that name, you're like, wait, the epidemiologist?
Well,
And Alonso, I'm not sure. Well, let me ask you, do you think you would have, having made contact with Dr. Doherty, or Billings probably is what you know him, would you have spent time like investigating his background, or would you have just had like taken it at face value as this is a guy who's helping me through Peerless Passage?
I mean, I probably always do background on people. It's just second nature. I probably don't think about it that much. I just do it.
Sure. So then what you would have discovered before, and maybe it's you know, you hadn't thought that Dr. Ilias is as well read or is on everything, you know, medical related. Doherty is an epidemiologist and was an imperial epidemiologist who actually helped eradicate one specific plague that was affecting one entire sector. Not only for tracking it down, but also for helping to develop the inoculation to get rid of it. That was about 20 years ago that occurred. He has subsequently retired from that, and he got himself involved. He is one of the coordinators behind Peerless Passage. He is not psychic, but he does work with a great deal, a great many of the psychics. Dr. Ilias, you are obviously familiar with like Billings' response to the, or Dr. Doherty, forgive me. Although using your convention, maybe it's Dr. Billings. Dr. Billings is the one who responded to this like sector-wide infection, and like basically at the peak of his career, then sort of left the field altogether. So it's the kind of stuff that if you are reading about, you know, galactic scale pandemics, what would you call them? Intergalactic demics? No? I guess it would be pandemics still, because that does mean all, but Dr. Billings was at least 2 decades ago a luminary, someone who was touted as being kind of like the guy to respond, and then he suddenly left the field and never really published anything further, didn't do any further response. There fortunately has not been anything on that scale again, but yeah, it's weird that he's in the Reach.
And he wrote a process for how to deal with the sector-wide pandemic. It's still like on every curriculum.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
So
that's similar to Captain Osmond in a sense. Sucked it all in, and he just left the field. Hasn't published anything since 20 years ago.
Yeah,
disappeared, so to speak.
Absolutely, in the medical scene. Like, I mean, obviously his approach, his papers are still very much live and debated, but he himself, I believe he's been invited to a few conferences as a guest speaker and such, but never showed up.
Yeah. And you know that Doherty is, and he bills himself as, just Billings Doherty as one of the proprietors of Peerless Passage. So the company itself was set up by him about 10 years ago, and has been active in the Reach ever since, and seemingly doing this exact same kind of work that he's doing presently.
Such virtuous and effective and well-regarded people, so caught up in this web. It's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
Don't know how that makes you guys feel, but it's the goodies. It's the respected ones who are enmeshed in this pernicious activity.
Well, what Alonso could clarify too is that Doherty is the one who kept him safe, right? Like Peerless Passage is the one that is trying to get EV back by financing Chase's activity. So you're not wrong that it still is, treating psychics like kind of like pawns, but it has a different goal from what the Sudani seem to hear. Yeah.
True
but you're not wrong though. 2 non-psychics that seem to be wrapped up in this as well.
Right.
So that is who is arriving. He does not know that you are here, but you are aware that he is going to be arriving at Drinax within 2 days.
But the more allies we have, the better, assuming we can count them amongst our allies. But it still doesn't solve the problem of how we get Evie safely away from her minders and the crew of the Bonhomme.
Especially as she may, if I remember correctly, she may well not want to be secured away at all, and she may well resist.
And she might be a powerful psychic in her own right, so her resisting might get
Right.
Laris, seeing as you did so well in impersonating.
No.
I mean, what if they handed her over
Yeah, that's what
without
I
anyone
want.
noticing any, and then,
I mean, it crossed my mind. It crossed my mind. But of course, and Laris hastily says, of course, anyone could be him now. It does not need to be me.
There.
But yes, I think a deception, a peaceful deception, if undertaken cleverly, might be a way of us securing the young lady. I mean, it seems to me one of the better options we have at the moment, but I'm open to others, of course.
Right. So if we could waylay them somehow, and we could make the exchange before them, it could be all done very peacefully.
Yeah.
a bit of hope. I guess with the, from the records we found, is there an indication that her two minders will travel with the Bonhomme, or are they merely handing her over?
I don't think you know one way or the other with that, but you do know that there is sufficient space on the ship for all three
of them, yeah.
Evie and the two Zodani.
If it's a simple handing over and we escort Evie to a ship without her minders, but if they go, actually we also have tickets.
The records that you've received through that Laris recovered suggest that they're transporting them as well.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That makes it a little trickier for sure.
Okay. I mean, there are alternatives to that approach, perhaps slightly more direct. There is isolating and neutralizing the Bonhomme in some kind of way so that the exchange can't happen. That's fraught with some difficulties, but is a direct approach and would perhaps ensure that the woman herself does not leave the system, which of course is our main worry, that she will get successfully taken away. So a preemptive strike of some description might be an option.
Right.
Could we find a pretext for them all getting arrested?
Yeah.
Plant some contraband or...
Well, I mean, we've got... Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I do the pretext. We have the ear of the royalty who don't particularly want Zodani
Right.
conspirators operating in their system. We don't have to even play that line, but they may cooperate to enact that, knowing that they are part of that conspiracy. I'll use the word conspiracy, even though our Varga friend has not yet joined us. So we could do that.
It can be deniable for Drinax. They're just acting on real evidence, just implanted by us.
They probably won't mind who it's planted by if we.
And remember, Princess Rao said they do not want to get directly involved.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so if we plant successful evidence, and it would make sense for them, but not sure if they'd be willing to.
Yeah, good point.
But I was thinking that way it might just be regular customs and police rather than it being anything overt by the government.
Like, I thought, so what would that achieve in terms of the handover? How do we think minders will react?
Well, if they're arrested at that point, they can potentially be separated, and then at that point we've got a chance to head off with her. The problem is having these agents and her in the same place at the same time. That was my only thought, because otherwise we struggle a bit with getting hold of them.
Right.
Yeah. So we can assume that there is no handover as such. The three will arrive, make their way to the bonhomme, and then all leave on the bonhomme. There won't be like a meeting in a public place where they hand her over or anything like that.
Yeah, they're going to be in comms communication with the bonhomme, aren't they? Thinking about it, you know. So it's going to be fairly obvious what we're doing. Unless those comms could be intercepted. And
How
relayed.
fast can Yuri run?
I bet it's fast.
It has a moment of, what if the simplest one is, because we know Yuri is less susceptible to this part of their powers, and he can't turn invisible. What if he just runs in, snatches Evie, and runs as fast as he can out of...
Yeah.
and just...
Yeah, in some ways that is the simplest answer, isn't it?
Okay.
Or we maybe create a distraction or something to cause maximum chaos, but...
Sure. Well, we like to feel we're involved, don't we? Oh dear.
I mean, he can run about as fast as what an incredibly fit human could. He doesn't have
It's like a tireless quality to it, though.
That's just it. Is he will not get fatigued by it. And he also, because of his strength, he definitely would not need more than one hand to control her, and quite possibly could make use of a three-dimensional environment with his gecko grips. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. Yeah, like the other stuff is him becoming invisible is not particularly helpful.
While carrying her,
Yeah.
So if we assume that they will not hand her over as such, but just walk up to where the bonhomme is parked, go through, airlocks and the dock, we know where they will be at some stage, right? They'll be entering. So if we create smoke grenades, because I think also we establish they need line of sight for their powers to work on someone else. So I might be misremembering that. Like from smoke grenades, Yuri or someone else rushes in, grabs Evie, and runs away. While the smoke grenade and then the chaos, and we'll just sort of...
He does have IR and UV optics, so he would be able to see through that stuff.
Yeah. I would leave it relatively bloodless, hopefully, and...
Yeah, I'm all for bloodless.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I guess we can deal with whatever programming she's had. I'm advertising this, but keep her sedated until the Peerless Passage people arriving, and maybe help with getting her and Solomon somewhere safer.
Yeah, I mean, how reliable is cryogen?
As reliable, I guess, as the doctor wakes you up.
Yeah. Probably, but it sounds less reliable than sedation. Yeah, it's probably less.
Well, the folks from Peerless Passage are not. They're just happen to be ships passing in the night right now. I don't think they're aware of circumstances here, or I think your past dealings with Dr. Doherty, Alonso, or Billings, I guess, are likely that he will likely be eager to assist. He probably also has psychics in tow with him.
Oh, yes. That makes it a little trickier too.
Yeah, they may not know. It's unlikely that the Peerless Passage regularly gets into contact with Zodani, but to be honest, you don't really know. You weren't aware of active recruitment efforts by the Zodani here. It's also worth putting a line under again, why on earth would they bother doing this? There's tons of psychics in the consulate.
Right.
This is a lot of work to put to smuggle a bunch of, psychics of varying abilities. Evie seems to be quite powerful, but who knows whether they're all powerful psychics are in humanity, and or at least among the Solomani and among the Lani, not anywhere near as common as what they are in the the consulate among the Zodani.
Right, why is this girl such a big deal? Such worth all this trouble? Is there a more political motivation as well to it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd have assumed it was because she was so exceptionally powerful that she was worth the trouble, but maybe it's nothing to do with her powers directly.
Well, there's as many Zaldani people as there are Imperials or whatever we are.
It's a huge polity.
Yeah.
It's a huge polity. Yeah.
It's a huge piece of space, right? So
one thing that Dr. Ilias perhaps primarily is your role as a physician, but also as an aspiring spy master. Physiologically, the easiest way to tell the difference between Solomani, the Villani, and the Zodani is the Zodani have a different number of teeth in their head. You can, with a dental inspection, you can tell someone who has not been surgically altered. You can tell a Zodani from humanity, from any of the other more common strains of humanity.
Teeth. Often overlooked, but if you wanted to have infiltrators, people that can, while being psychics, reach the highest echelons or places where people might scan for Zodani, are kind of hard to fake teeth. Captain, you have some contacts, no doubt. Have you ever heard of this, the Ghost, or had any reference to something referred to as the Ghost?
You could give us a, what do you think here? Maybe a history check, Captain Gani, or with education? Oh,
History.
Everyone have a drink. I need to grab a book. I think it's under history, be under science.
Yeah, so I don't have anything. So
Do you have nothing in science at all?
no.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead and roll with a boon, just because to reflect your kind of military history.
So, oops, hang on. That didn't work because I didn't do it with the boon, and I didn't. I thought that was going to ask me for modifiers.
Okay.
And my bad. I should. The new one has got a button for that, so I need to be -3 with that. -3 for no skill.
2. That would be 8 luck in order to get that to a success.
Blimey.
Oh well, that's actually worse.
Does that include that? But that includes the -3. That's actually better. That would be only 6 you need to make that a success.
What do you think, guys? Do we want that, or should we just let that go? 6 is quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, yeah.
Let's let it out. I don't know.
I mean,
I wasn't paying attention in class that day.
So you've never heard of anything called a ghost?
Sadly, not, Dr. Elias.
You could spend 4 to get some information. That would get you into an 8. It will not be the full information, but
Any opinion, fellows, or should okay?
You could risk that. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, if we're going to do the mission this session, without wishing to meta it too much, I think we can
Let's
risk
do
4.
that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. So you never heard of anything called a ghost, but you're aware of rumors of deep-range reconnaissance vessels using cutting-edge stealth technology that will get themselves in behind enemy lines. They are not as effective as, a full fleet, and they're not effective against, multiple ships, but against individual things. They can be on you and have a crew of teleporting Zodani Marines on board your ship before you can fucking blink.
Well, that's nice.
I think you misspelled terrifying.
So that's what they did on the Zodani front. Whether there's something like that active in the Reach, who knows?
Right.
You know who might know, or at least have more information, is your contact with Naval Intelligence that you'll be meeting up with to pass intel.
So, in the future.
Yeah. We're just getting to that stage where we know we have to act. We just don't want to mess it up.
Then let's do this. Why don't we take our mid-session break right now? Everyone stretch their legs, refresh, and we'll come back ready to make decisive decisions. So, for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Ooh.
All right. Whole crew is back. Carl, why don't you give us a D6 roll, please? Oh, David's not back yet. Hold on. Oh, it's West. Hold on, I gotta let Carl in the call here. Hold up. There we go. Carl, give us a D6 roll, please. Nice. You guys have 12 luck. All right.
You guys haven't used any luck? Wow.
They have.
Okay.
Yeah, they rolled quite well to start. So, guys, when we left, you guys were discussing some other, some pending arrivals at Drinax and some potential strategies for how to address these Zodani people. Oh, and you also learned some great news about what a ghost might be. As expected, coming back with decisive action in mind.
Oh yeah, perfectly decisive action.
But in terms of plans, if someone has a better one, I'm all ears. But we linger around the spaceport. Well, what, like, Solomon is there already, but we can say, like, watch patterns. We know what the people we're looking for look like. And when they're about to go into the dock area to join the bonhomme, we smoke grenades, diversions, Yuri or someone rushes in, grabs Evie, and just legs it, while the rest cover them. And then we scatter like ghosts into the wind, and they will never know who we were or where we went. And then we deal with what comes after. Not a great plan, but because that's the one where they will be, where we know where they will be, not exactly when, but they will have to, assuming they will board the bonhomme, they will have to go in. We know where they will be at some stage.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I just run another idea by you? Which there's going to be a gotcha. There's going to be a gotcha. The ship coming in with the person we want to rescue, we're going to call it a rescue. Do they know that the bonhomme, captained with Yali Osmond and crew, are going to take her to the Zodani? What I'm thinking is, if they don't know that, and for them it's another connection in their chain, their legitimate chain, can we intercept them before they get to the starport, persuade them that there is a significant danger here, and offer an alternative? Us.
I'll be right back.
That was such a bad idea that Kevin has left the building.
You want us to find your space, intercept the ship, somehow convince them that these super powerful telepaths on this ship are what they are, and then to hand them over to us?
Well, just, do they know that they're handing her over to Zodani? Is it clear to them do we know that it's clear to them that they know what they're doing?
Possibly not. It might just be another career vessel or
Exactly.
passenger.
And that may be Captain Yali Osmond has great credentials. It took us having to go into his ship, steal his journal and items to understand much more about what he's really about. On the surface, he's a perfect career. I don't know. I just throw it out there as an absolutely different thing, that we actually circumvent all this, go direct, and persuade them that they're handing her over to the Zodani.
I don't think we know which ship she will be on.
We don't.
Or
Okay.
does Solomon? I know we know Solomon know that the handover is happening here, but I'm not sure if Solomon knows which specific. I guess he must.
I thought he must.
You do. Yeah. The vessel that is arriving is called the Artisol Conveyor.
It's a good name.
And you could, Alonzo, give us an investigate check with a boon from Solomon's assistance. I think using intellect.
Wait a minute. You have to put the boon on before. There we go. Here we go. That is a terrible roll.
I mean, it's an 8 is what you needed. So what you know is the Artisol Conveyor is owned and operated by Ural Space Lines Incorporated, a stuffy and bureaucracy-ridden company. So it is one of many, many vessels in a line. That's going to give you the basics of what the vessel is. If you want to learn more about the company, it might require 2 luck.
How much luck do we have left?
12.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. So the 10, you know that the artificial conveyor, it is a reliable, or the Ural Space Lines Incorporated is it's a reliable gig, but it is also a extraordinarily boring one. The senior officers, they're not actually called captains, they're called senior shipboard officers. They do not have discretion to take on speculative trade. They have cargo that is arranged by Ural Space Lines Incorporated. And what it means is that often it's about as corporate a booking as what you could, which means either the individuals have just purchased, these 3 have purchased passage on a place where they're not going to be dealing with any personalities or any kind of surprises. It's just a corporate space line. Or alternatively, they are working with conspirators who are hiding under the guise of the most boring transportation possible. This type of thing.
Yeah.
Would make sense. Yeah.
Would make sense. And of course, we do know, do we not? Sorry, just dredging, that she was taken in very peculiar circumstances, in that her parents would not have wanted her to go, but were, I don't know, psionically manipulated, we thought.
Yeah.
Which might be part of trying to rescue her from a situation, but continually we've been told that that's not really the case.
Sorry, I didn't load the image, but it's a subsidized merchant.
Okay. Yeah.
But one question I think both as a player and in character Dr. Ilias would have is, if I understand from Solomon, he's been chasing her for years.
Yeah.
Why
Months.
haven't they handed her over yet?
Months, not years.
Okay, oh, sorry, I thought previously he said years.
No. But in months that he's been pursuing her. It just sounds like years because it's in black and white, and through cigarette smoke and.
Okay. But going back to your plan, Lara, so if we intercept a vessel, open comms with them.
Yeah. Speak directly to the abductors, should we call them?
If we're able to convince them, we'll put everyone on the ship in grave danger, however, right? Because presumably her minders will not just go quietly. And if they are as powerful as we think they are.
Yeah, true. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, no. It's not a bad one, I think.
No, I think you're. Yeah.
If we could quietly board them and take them by surprise, but I think for that I definitely would want to.
That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Without Dane, I don't think we should attempt any.
Do you guys have any way of investigating whether this artificial conveyor is part of the Zodani conspiracy, if you will? It's a good name for a module, guys.
So, yeah. I think that in the data that it mentioned there were 5 ships active in the region that are part of the network. Does it mention the artificial conveyor as one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It is not.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We're outgunned, both military-wise and psychic level. It feels like the only advantage we have is they are not yet aware that we are here to intervene on this. We have surprise. We have more foreknowledge than them at this point. Or at least we think or hope we do.
Well, in which case, the other thing we can do, rather than intercept them when they go over to the bonhomme, if we know which vessel they are on, can presumably ask the authorities to tell us which docking bay will be assigned to the vessel,
Yep.
and intercept them on arrival,
Yep.
and have us as still like smoke grenades to avoid psychic attacks that teleport you into the sun. But if we're the personnel hiding in the rivals area and intercept them on arrival, that might make it less messy, because then any backup from this bonhomme will be further away.
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, I was just double checking to make sure the subsidized merchant was streamlined, and it is. It will be landing at the floating palace. What Ultima 1 leans in and says, if Dane was present, I think he might note that the Evie's captors are unlikely to be armored, at least significantly, and that you have access to weaponry that most assuredly could eliminate them as threats from a distance. I am not suggesting that this is the course of action to take. It is worth noting it will not be arriving with combat armor or likely any significant protection. While I agree that there is a risk to Evie with violence, it is something that I think our former companion would note as a possible resolution. There is very little that they would likely be wearing that could stop a Gauss round. Whether the royalty approved of such an action is another matter, but...
Right.
That's a good
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
We need to make sure we have royal permission.
Maybe what we could get is a royal looking the other way.
Yeah.
which we have.
Yeah,
Right.
So long as they have plausible deniability.
exactly. Yeah.
Again, the risk to the girl and the willingness to escalate as against the Zodani agents is a question, but as Alonso has said, we have them by surprise, and we have the capability of removing them before they can become a threat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this our course of action then?
I think so.
I will have to voice that I have some strong reservations about just gunning them down as they leave the ship.
Yeah. Ultima 1 says, as do I. But
As do I.
If it comes to violence, I'm having traveled through the Reach these past few months. It'll always be avoided, but if we have a way of getting Evie to safety and not having to kill, then I would prefer that.
Intercept, negotiate. If that does
Yeah.
not work, switch
Right,
to
yeah.
violence.
Right. And we could send either, well, I mean, Ultima 1 can, is he good with like going in there, snatching her invisibly?
he would be invisible, but she would not be when he grabs her.
Right. Yeah, when he
Yeah.
grabs her. But then suddenly she's going to get whisked away. Or I don't know if he turns visible, but anyway. Yeah, I guess it'd be disrupted, that field. I mean, yeah, we could try to negotiate. We'll have, I mean, Anchor is willing to take up a sniper position.
Oh, okay. I guess we have the
Yeah.
makings of a plan.
Yeah.
Captain Ghani?
or we can smoke and snatch and grab too. Although the smoke, no.
Well, Captain Garni, I'm not a soldier, but I can live with violence in this case.
Alonso.
I've tried not to live a life with any violence, so I mean it's my last choice. But I mean,
We're suggesting negotiate first, right? Though.
Right.
we could try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I definitely think we need to get to them before before Captain Osmond. We need to intercept them. I think it's too late if we've got to the point where Captain Osmond's there.
Right. Well, in that case, then it'll have to be a contingency.
Yeah, but if we negotiate, so my preference would be if we ambush them when they land, like smoke grenades, chaos, someone or Yuri snatches Evie. If we negotiate, they would possibly know our faces and who we are, and if we, assuming that it's a peaceful negotiation, let them go at the end. Even assuming they will happily hand her over, and presumably that means we then have targets on our backs from a very powerful, scarily so polity that I don't particularly feel keen on having.
Jericho, I think he's talking about us.
Yeah. The target on my back is already sponsored by GDQ.
Yeah.
Of course, we have disguise technology and invisit, so we don't necessarily have to reveal ourselves when we negotiate with them, but so we would want to show a force or something to make them negotiate. The area where the ship will come in, Kev, is it like a hangar bay where it's sort of secluded? Like it would, if we were lurking around disguised as dock workers, it would just be us and the ship.
Yeah, and you can
fairly sort of secluded from prying eyes.
Yeah, and you can expect there's going to be about 12 passengers aboard who will be disembarking, including the three of them. And then what they will do is they will go from there through customs and then move on to wherever back through customs to get to the next dock. Or the next starport. But yeah, where they're landing, it would be just for that ship.
Okay.
Yeah, but the point is, so yeah, if there are other passengers and we resort to violence, a lot of potential friendly fire.
That could be tricky.
Well, we just don't have to make any mistakes, do we?
If we were to negotiate, what would would we all just stand there with guns drawn and say, hand us the girl or else? Or like, presumably, otherwise we'd have to give them something they'd want, right? What's our leverage if we want to negotiate?
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is.
I'm assuming at present you're having this conversation without Solomon in on the comm, by the by.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, I think we just go up to them and say, where is the girl going to go? For us, with us. Back to her parents? Is that the plan? what is the... Okay, let's say we get the girl. We're going to hand her back to her parents. Is that it?
I thought so.
Okay.
Well, I had hoped that maybe Peerless Passage and would be able to help with any... her parents' minds have been affected. Her mind would probably have been affected. Maybe Alonso's friends can help with any undoing of what damage has been done.
We need to be...
Psychosurgery.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to be clear about what we're offering. Okay. Yeah. I think we just need to go up to them and say, we can't allow you to offload her onto the Zodani. So sadly, she has to come with us in that regard, and we need to ensure that her best interests are cared for. And if you resist, we'll kill you. So don't resist. It would be foolish. You may need to pick somebody else who's a bit more convincing than me, but
We're the good guys, right? Just checking here.
yeah.
Oh man, it doesn't feel like it, does it?
Are we the baddies?
No, we're trying to save this girl from what, by all accounts, is horrible circumstances.
Exactly.
But I guess one question then would be how, given Captain Osmond's sort of praise the other day, how fanatical are these Soldani agents going to be? BA, sure, have her. This is reasonable. Or it's going to be like, well, if we can't have her, no one can. Or
They'll be incredibly committed and loyal and strong and very thoughtful people who are on the other side.
What Alonso had said before, given your sort of knowledge of psionics, Alonso, telepathy is the most common ability, both among the Zodani and among the rest of the Soleimani and the Villani. We've talked about the scary aspect of teleportation that only the Zodani can do, but what about the more banal use of things just to quite literally change minds?
Right.
If you show up and attempt to negotiate, one factor that they may have in their favor that seems to have been used quite effectively on Evie's parents, at least as far as Solomon says, is to completely change the mind. Do you have a countermeasure for that?
I think we discussed investing in psi helmets.
Yeah, you should definitely have those.
Yep.
We did talk about that, and I do think that's a great idea.
Yep. So you would be showing up to the negotiation with psi helms on. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to assist with Alonso's query about whether you are the good guys, it may be worth considering. What do they intend to do with Evie if she is not recovered? Do we expect that she will be brought back and found a place of privilege among the Zodani, or is it as you suspect, Dr. Elias, that she will be a tool? If she is intended to have a favored place in the Zodani society, then we will be interfering with an extraordinary and unheard of humanitarian effort.
I think the moral basis of our action is the sense that there was manipulation to subvert what should happen. And actually, your point is well made, Ultima One. If in fact what is happening is of her own volition, she wishes to go to a society in which she will be recognized, much vaunted for her ability. Doubtless have a position of privilege because of her psionic capability. In a way, that is her choice. What we're basing our action on is that it's not really her choice. But do we know that? Do we absolutely know that?
Hard to tell, but I think we know that her home planet isn't against psionics.
So,
I mean, this is all, a lot of this is also contingent on, this is what Solomon told us.
yeah.
And I understand she's a child, so I'm also not sure how well she would have understood. Someone showed up and said, "Hey, come with us and be queen of."
How old is she?
I think she was 14 when she was taken.
All right. So she's... Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because at that age it can go either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we can always ask her when we meet her.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to do that.
There's every chance her mind has been messed with. Alonso, would you be able to tell if
I mean, I can try anything.
it's the spirit?
What the quality of the information will be could be low.
Mind Link is easy, a difficulty of 4. The other thing because we so rarely use psionics, I'm reminded that there is a cost to this too, and Alonso does not have, as it were, a lot of fuel in the tank. So his ability to make use of these psionic abilities is going to be limited in time as well.
And what does it use? Which one does it use?
It uses telepathy. Mind Link uses telepathy.
I have a 0. I have a total.
What is your?
I don't have that skill.
What's your psi ability? Oh, you have no training in telepathy at all?
Oh no, wait, I do. I have 1.
Okay. What is your psi attribute?
A 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys keep forgetting. It's basically not really existent. It's kind of 0.
Well, I
get
mean,
a negative on pretty much every roll.
so a 3.
Oh God.
Let's see here. I must have been a
He gets lucky sometimes. He has a hunch.
Yeah, and you guys have luck as well to offset the
He gets lucky sometimes.
abysmal skill.
Oh my God.
They've got suggestion, haven't they? I mean, just thinking of what's happened. I mean, the sort of moral, ethical base of what we're doing is that some incredibly powerful suggestion has been placed on her parents, herself, and they've used that as the basis to take her. Is that right? Is that what we're thinking?
That's kind of what we've been led to
But
believe.
Solomon told us.
Yeah. Well, it's a real thing.
If we can combine our plans to an extent, we start off with a negotiation. We don't all have to reveal ourselves. Kind of people hidden away with smoke grenades and such, and move to plan B if the negotiations
Yeah, let's do that.
fall apart.
So, who is going to be on the negotiation team, and who's going to be on the boom boom, it's all gone wrong team?
That's a tough one.
I will talk to them.
Very good.
So I have an actual relationship with this Dr. Doherty.
Fantastic.
So that means I'm known to him. Like,
But remember, he's not on this. We're talking about the ship that Zuldania are arriving on.
oh, okay, he's not on that ship. Okay.
No, he's coming with the Peerless Passage vessel.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that helps because I don't really want to be seen by him.
I will tell you guys, we're going to leave it because of the variations of jump travel. We're going to roll to see which ship arrives first. So you may actually have Peerless Passage here before the others, which means you may have additional psionic assets that you're not aware of.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I guess it's also contingent. If you guys get Evie, what are you intending on doing with her until the Peerless Passage folks arrive?
I don't have the psionic power to untangle a suggestion. Kind of counter-suggest, like counter-magic.
For Alonso, you mean?
I'm thinking, yeah, maybe Alonso. Or can you do that, Alonso?
In general, yeah, like there would be a way of it would be a time, requirement to it, but there is definitely a way of undoing the damage that psionics have done. Whether Alonso is capable of doing that, he does have a 1, which is not nothing in it. The 3, though, I cannot recall. What's the?
I think suggestion is quite tough to pull off. It's a complex telepathic power, as I remember.
Yeah.
It's not reading surface thoughts. It's implanting and coercing.
A 3 is only a -1, so effectively he's rolling just strictly from a mind link perspective. You're rolling with no modifiers, 2d6, trying to get a 4 or higher. So at the very least, you could make contact with Evie's mind and potentially get a read of what her true, feelings are.
Cool.
As far as Alonso undoing it, Laris, that is going to be. If it's a difficult, that's a 10 to 12.
Okay. Right. Well, okay. Yeah.
Let's take a look here.
But it's certainly...
suggestion is a 12.
Okay, but certainly it's part of the negotiation.
Yep.
Alonso, sounds like you're perfect for this. You could at least add that into...
Yeah, I mean, we can try for it, right?
Yeah, I think we should.
Also, as your physician, obviously I'm against prescribing drugs when not technically necessary, but I believe there are drugs that boost someone's psionic potential.
Oh.
A place like Drinax, I assume, would have access to it.
Psi drug. Whoa.
Yeah, page 94 of the DSC.
Psi drug.
Yeah.
I think you should get boosted. I mean, Doctor, I don't know what that does. We're in your hands, but if we can...
Psi drug restores spent psi.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Okay.
It has
and it
temporarily increased the user's psi if taken when at full strength.
9 psi restored or +6 boosted. Jacking from a 3 to a 9 would give you a +2 to your roll.
Instead of a -1.
No, instead of a 0.
Oh, instead of a 0.
Right, because you got -1 from your stat, +1 from your skill level is a 0 currently. It would go from 0 to +2. So again, 9 is a +2, isn't it?
My sheet shows that I have a -1 modifier.
That's from your 3 in psi.
Oh, from my 3 in psi. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So 9's a +1.
We keep going back to his the metaphysical scrawny arms and being like, no, it's because he's just so weak.
Wow.
Yeah, 9 is +1.
You're picking on me psychically.
I can't believe there'd be any side effects or after effects to such a incredible psionic boost. I'm sure it'd be just fine.
Yeah, you have to make an endurance check with a DM -1 per dose of psi drug taken in the last week. If it's failed, you fall ill, suffering 3d6 damage and permanently reducing your psi by 1.
That'd be fine.
That's for the most strongest version. The one below that is slightly less dangerous, but doesn't boost you as much. So it's it's something to consider, Alonso. It's absolutely your decision. Consent in medicine is important, but it is an option.
It is an option. Man.
Okay, so we've got two in the negotiating team, Dr. Elias and Alonso. Anchor, you were lining up maybe to be the sort of...
Yeah, I can be Overwatch.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Captain Ganny, what is your...
I'm not a good talker, it has to be admitted. Perhaps I'm better on the Overwatch.
Laris looks at his feet, but doesn't say anything. Says, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And what about, I suppose, as part of our negotiating team, would that include Ultima One as the snatch unit if things go south?
But I'm thinking he could be there invisibly.
Sure.
If it turns to violence, his mission is grab Evie and get her to safety.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm not sure what my role should be. Maybe try and act as a stall. Coordinate comms. I'm not sure how useful I would be at anything really.
I mean, we have comm dots, so we'll all be in communication. But definitely, stall. Make sure that the hangar doors are locked or whatever. To prevent reinforcements, especially from the Bonhomme.
I'll do that. I will try and monitor the crew of the Bonhomme and undertake any form of electronic intervention in terms of their journey to try and prevent them from making their way, to hold them up.
That will be tricky in a place that's as built up as the floating palace, because this is not like creating a zone specific jamming signal. There's so many people who are active with so much technology here. It would be, if you did implement something like that, it'd be difficult for it not to be noticed by everybody, including the authorities.
In which case, there are. I wonder if we can get something from the authorities to say that there are some route. I'm just thinking of roadworks. There's sort of the inevitable routine maintenance that's required from time to time, which is just becomes inconvenient at the right moment. I don't know.
12 guys standing around in orange vests. I'm sorry, pal, you got to go around the filling in bottles on this corridor here. So
yeah, exactly. That kind of thing in a very high-tech kind of a way.
We're using the sonic pothole filler.
So let's see if we can get that in play such that it can be deployed when we know better the sequencing of the ships and when it needs to come into play, and that it can be actually executed at like a moment's notice. It's not going to take a great deal, he said, but we need the authorities to play ball with that.
Well, the other thing you're going to want to cross is setting up snipers in a place that's as set up as this. You can feel free to not run that plan past Princess Rao, but she did want to be kept in the loop for any plans to intercept. So,
yeah, I think we probably need to do that, to say that we will be looking to do some highly targeted and isolated potential violence may be required. And we're telling them, one, obviously to get their permission, but two, also to ensure that they don't become alerted unnecessarily to that. And both those facets to the plan are sort of a roadworks and a passivity to short violence needs to be in place. Clearly, we would take the risk on the violence. We just have to. It's not their risk; it's ours. And they can react as they would wish, depending on how the story develops. Sounds like we have a plan.
A shaky plan, but a plan.
In which case, let's get the 2 authority pieces in place. And so what we will do is we will convey this. I'm trying to find a way of not having to do it in person.
Encrypted message as before.
Encrypted message.
You would want an audience where we discuss this plan more openly.
Okay. Let's just hope that they will just sign it off. But let's just see what they do. So,
guys, can you tell us just clearly then, what is the plan here?
The way I understand it is we will be in the hangar bay where...
Who is we?
All of us, I think. Because it's an enclosed space, so to have the backup of the violence options, everyone would have to be in the hangar where the conveyor will land, right? We would have someone in a tree a mile away.
So
there are no trees, and
remember, it's a flying. Yeah, it's a flying city.
Yeah,
with incredible urban, sprawl or crush here. So, however, it is a flying city. The wing guards here do make use of anti-grav belts liberally. If you want to position yourself somewhere very far away, as long as whatever you are and you have access to space, this is a 3-dimensional environment in which you can play. So the plan is everyone in the hangar bay?
Assuming it's fully enclosed, our picture.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd have Anchor and Gani hiding, I assume there's crates and bulkheads and things, while Alonso and I try and negotiate with them.
Yeah.
And if that fails, when that fails,
okay,
Anchor and Gani can leap into action.
So then,
while Ultima 1 grabs Evie and gets her to safety.
That would mean all of you would need to go through customs in order to be positioned there?
That's where I'm hoping that our connections can give us, allowing us to bypass or to get through without any questions raised.
Okay.
To be in the hangar bay, possibly dressed as maintenance workers.
Because if we can't bring any weapons, this is good. Your backup team will struggle a bit using harsh words from behind packing cases.
Yeah.
And then what you're asking for, what you will be asking Princess Rao to approve is having no interference with someone going from the starport to elsewhere in the city, or in the floating palace.
Yeah.
Without any customs officials stopping them or interfering.
Yeah.
She may. I will tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it down to a dice roll to see whether she goes. I don't want to make the decision one way or the other for us. And you guys could be quite persuasive. So we're going to leave it to a dice roll to see whether just the difficulty is going to be judged on what. That is a big ask from them because if the Zodani now, they may still do that. She does seem to like you, and this also may put you guys further into her pocket or the pocket of her father. I'm not sure if those lovely dresses have pockets, but she may be able to fit you in there anyway. This is not to say that, she won't say no to it, but I want to be clear on what is being requested here. If you do have the support of that, that's huge. You guys will be able to get through, and any pursuers will be subject to that then.
But I guess if that's off, then the other person is ambushing them at the whatever arrivals hall when they exit into the city. But then for Dr. Ilias' liking, there'd be too many people around that are in danger.
Exactly. That's just, yeah. I don't think the princess would thank us for starting a firefight in the middle of the arrivals hall.
Yeah.
Her fondness for her may be strained by that.
Have you any way of separating them from the other 7 passengers?
Oh, when they go through.
Because they'll be disembarking from the Artisan conveyor, then they will be making their way through with their luggage through customs.
Sure. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, I'm sorry. Could you come over here? We just need to just test you. Take you to a separate room.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
You know, it's just routine. It's just routine. We just scan and test you. It's all right. I guess that yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could actually have custom separator. Or ask.
Could do. Feels like that's officialdom getting involved.
Yeah. Right.
Again, not impossible, but it'll be coming down to the pitch to the princess.
Yeah. Well, because that's
Or
plan
what if-
too. Yeah.
Or what if we could pose as customs officials and just escort her? Something looks irregular here. We need to examine, something. I don't know. Questioning.
Could I just check your pockets, please?
Right.
Wallet inspector. I think you'll find everything in order, sir.
Have you ever had any sort of cybernetic surgery or anything? I don't know. Beep, beep, beep. It's always me in the queue, actually. It's always me in the queue, whatever happens. Let's get beeped and stopped. Okay, so the pitch then the plan as we've described, sort of roadblocks, as it were, just to obfuscate and make things difficult for the other crew, to turn a blind eye in customs, and to the unlikely, we hope, execution of some sort of gunfire and violence in the docking area, with a alternative plan B, a simpler plan that would involve separating the target in customs, and her being taken to a room where we can secure her safety. Is that what we're asking for? One or the other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In which case, that's what, Kevin, we kind of send in that sort of tight encrypted communication to her, and requesting that, appreciating the complexities of the request, we have 2 days, a bit less now maybe, to undertake the operation.
Okay, so forgive me, the request is to gain access to there and to turn a blind eye to whatever might happen in the hangar?
Yeah. To appreciate that we'll be clear that our first intent is to undertake a negotiated securing of the woman to secure her safety. However, recognizing the potentially zealous nature of the Zodani agents that are operating as part of this, there may need to be more forceful action, which will potentially trip their sensors and their security measures. And they need to be aware that this is happening, and we need a short window in which to undertake this action to secure the woman. And that's why we're telling them, not so much turning a blind eye, but more being aware that this is an option we may have to consider as part of this operation. Might
That's
not go down right.
that's the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even the customs operation could end up in violence if they resist,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So that is sent. It may not surprise you to learn that you're later that evening. You are requested to attend at the Royal Palace. However, it will not be an official visit.
Okay.
You are going to be, you're given instructions to travel to a place within the court chambers, and then you will be escorted to an audience.
That means things have got real.
They do not wish to have any record of your appearance. So, who will be meeting with Princess Rao, or whoever it is you're meeting with?
Who gets on with her in our previous encounters? Is it any of us?
Not particularly.
Relationship.
Okay.
The important thing is that Anchor never meets her.
I know.
Yeah, that's right.
She'd send Anchor because he's never met her.
All right. Is it you, Alonso, Captain Ganny? I can't remember. Dr. Ilias.
I'll happily go along.
Okay.
I guess I'll go as well. As you say, I don't normally talk much, but she seems to
I'd like to go so I can finally meet her.
like. No. You need to look after
Who
the
is
ship.
this intruder?
It's a spy! Shoot him!
So, is it Captain Ganny, Anchor, Dr. Ilias? Is it everybody?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Bob, yeah.
Okay, so the lot of you are meeting, and actually, I think what the instructions will be is to meet up at Rakondo's Bazaar, and then from there you will be escorted elsewhere. It is not a surprise when the person who you recognize the person as one of the chamberlains or whatever who is who you've seen within the palace itself in your ways of going in and out to see King Oleb. You were led to a like turbo lift type thing that actually leads you not up but down into the substructure. King Oleb, not surprisingly, a floating palace requires a lot of apparatus and machinery and whatnot beneath the surface. It's also, guys, I mean, is that where the gravity dungeons are too? Huh.
Nice.
I'm sure nothing will ignore that. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that. It's a you are led down, and from the Chamberlain, you are passed off to two rather serious-looking fellows who you would guess are members of the Star Guard. And unlike King Oleb, these two fellows look unlikely to require two anti-grav belts in order to support their impressive bulk. And they look, they remind you a great deal of your departed companion, Dane, in terms of severity of presence. They lead you along to where you meet up with two additional individuals, and then from within the shadows, dressed in a nearly, and perhaps actually like optically invisible cloak, someone withdraws their hood, and you find yourself meeting with Princess Rao once again. She is dressed shockingly, unassumingly. This is a very subdued outfit. Everything is black, and her hair is pulled back still in a very sensible kind of bun. You would never, would it not be for the extraordinary amount of technology that no doubt is in this robe that allows her to be invisible, you would not know it was the royal princess herself. But she turns, and where you guys are having this meeting, you can picture is like some kind of service room. There's probably like tools and stuff that are around here. There's the noise of the operation of the whatever machinery keeps the floating palace in the sky. This is the guts of the operation that keeps this up and going. And there are 4 armed guards. None of you guys, if you did think to bring any weaponry, then anything obvious will have been seized beforehand. If you're anything that you are concealing, we can make a roll for, but they will be giving you thorough searches before you are giving access to Princess Rao. Does anyone want to hide any weaponry on them?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Then, Princess Rao says, then, I trust... good evening, gentlemen.
Your Highness.
I
Your Highness.
received... No, please, no need to take a knee. We are meeting secretly. And as such, no need for such formalities. There will be no record of this meeting. There's a drone in here that seems to be paying attention to you, so she might not be telling the truth on that.
That's fine.
You have a plan, then, it seems. I wish to deal with consequences or address consequences flowing from this. Your proposal is to meet these individuals and to try and converse them into turning over a kidnapped girl. Failing which, you intend to eliminate them both. Is that correct?
Yes.
What consequence do you foresee if you let them live?
They potentially will head home, report on what happened, and it might draw unwanted attention to Drinax, I suspect. So
you would be aware, just like the fleets are required to activate with a great deal of autonomy, it must mean that intelligence operatives either have to work with a great deal of autonomy or they have to have sort of like sector operatives. For them to report back to the consulate itself, we're talking months of time for that meeting because they can't make messages move any faster than what your ships can. But what you would know is that if there is a sector hub here, then they're going to be reporting within here, which is a matter of weeks in all likelihood. It also means that whatever network is operative here is likely going to be able to respond commensurately faster too. You would know this.
yeah. So while we will be operating unofficially, it would still probably be preferable that they never report back.
I have tried very hard to not let my personal views of this impact my father's approval of this. But I have it on your assurance that these individuals took this young girl from loving parents with an undisclosed intent or an unknown intent of what they seek to do to her. Spies, in my experience, rarely have the best of intent for anyone taken.
Correct, Your Highness. I mean, Ma'am.
That is the moral basis upon which we have chosen to act.
Why then take half measures? If they are
That's what I
dead,
said. That's what I said, Your Highness, ma'am.
if they are dead, then it is an act of either desperation from your individual, the man with the hat you brought in our last visit, or counter-espionage, which will give the Zodani active here reason to suspect. You have a number of distinguished former military here. My understanding is that there is rarely a individual who cuts their ties so thoroughly with the military. And that your military, Captain Gani, quite regularly has their retired operatives in both of the services that you formerly served carry on in service as spies. Captain...
I have heard that has been alleged, ma'am.
Indeed. And how convenient it would be for one to have expertise in both services active in my father's court, Captain.
As you wish, ma'am, but I'm but a humble mechanic in many ways.
Of course. Were I to speculate, which side of the coming conflict that my father would wish to find himself allied, however peripherally, the Imperium are our neighbors. The Zodani are interlopers. While it does not change my father's position that the court of Drinax cannot take a position one way or the other. If shots are coming in yet another war, we wish the Empire to know, the Imperium to know, that my father and his court are not hostile to the Imperium, nor offering aid and comfort to any of its enemies.
Now, Captain Gani will bow somewhat awkwardly.
We cannot be seen to be taking direct steps against this, but even one as knowledgeable and powerful as my father cannot prevent acts of espionage upon other espionage agents, even when it results in such violence. Politics aside, if I might grace you with candor, I trust, Dr. Ilias, your concern is for the child.
And it's my primary concern, her well-being.
If this matter must be resolved violently, I have your assurance that the child's safety is secured.
You do.
I think it does not benefit any for them to live. However this resolves, live agents of the Imperium, of the Consulate, can only bring more trouble. Dead ones bring questions, and questioning, I think, benefits. You ask for our approval. We, of course, condemn any acts of espionage or violence against any members and any visitors to my father's floating palace. But I think it best for all involved that these two agents not leave the floating palace. Out of character, just to be clear, this is the princess saying this, not Kev.
Right.
However you guys choose to resolve this is 100% within your discretion. That is the princess making her feelings quite clearly known. I'm telling them. There is not, out of character again, not a right answer or a wrong answer of how to resolve this. How you guys choose to do that is absolutely within yours. This is the princess speaking in her capacity as the princess. So
Right. Oh, man.
have you guys any... sorry, what was that, Graham?
That's fine. Carry on.
Okay. Jeff, your camera just shut off for some reason.
I know. I don't know how I did that. Oh.
The counter-espionage measures already.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a tiny little switch on my laptop. I accidentally bumped it.
I thought you were piecing out from the meeting with Princess Ryder. Like, I'm out. Fuck this.
Yeah. Gotta go. Oh,
So-
man.
She has left that as...
Dramatic interference, you know.
Yeah. Have you any response for her?
Oh, man.
Thank you for your candor, which clarifies your explicit requirements as part of this operation.
Then, I think you may need time to consider. I trust you can find your way out. Then I need only for you to say that you are proceeding as agreed, or whether you have another proposal. You know our feelings on this matter. A pleasure as always. You need not bow when I leave. She leaves, the drone follows behind, followed after by the wing guards, leaving you all in this service shed.
Yeah. And once she's out of earshot, Dr. Ellis will turn. It's like, do we know the way out?
Cheetah the Chamberlain, at least.
Oh, a lot of passages and turbo lifts we took to get here.
Yeah. Who's got a great memory?
Well, that was invigorating, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
But so they clarified.
Right.
Basically, kill the bastards. I mean, it wasn't quite stated that way, but that's... And it's very interesting that she's been very clear about where she sees Drinax, if you like, astropolitical allegiances need to lie.
Warms the cockles of my heart, it does.
I thought it might, Captain Candy.
It's very clear where she wants us to think that her
Well,
political
Of course.
intentions lie and
Of course.
messages passed back to Gani's friends.
yeah.
I'm sure her interests lie wholly on Drinax, and that's it. But it's a good start.
So I wonder if her sanction also applies to any traders. Well, something to consider. There's like a counter attack, right? So. Okay.
Well, hopefully that won't be. If we eliminate them and get Evie to safety, then that will hopefully be the end of it.
Right. I'm so glad I finally got to meet the princess.
I would ask you what you made of her, but we're still inside the palace, so.
Allegedly, the princess.
And don't take it personally that she dressed down for this particular meeting.
Yeah.
I was just trying to bring some levity to an otherwise tense situation.
Shall we try and find a way out?
Yeah, I have the feeling, Anchor, you probably will have made some sort of an impression.
Right.
Who do you think was on the other end of that drone?
Oh, probably Oleb.
Yeah, there's a good chance that he was watching.
Speaking of watching, this was a location selected by the princess.
Yeah. We're going. Bye.
It is not difficult for you guys to find your way out,
Okay.
and you are brought back up into somewhere not far off from Rakondo's bazaar.
Yep.
What do you guys
So
do now?
definitely think we need side protection.
Yeah. Go ahead, while we're here, we can pick up some side drugs for Alonso.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's open till 9, right?
It's open until 9.
I wonder if we can is there a way to interfere with their psychic abilities too, right? So like, what if they have,
A mag rail rifle?
well, other than that, what if they have like precognition or, other hocus pocus?
I do have some inhibitor drugs on me, but it has to be delivered into their bloodstream. It only works once it interacts with their bloodstream, so nothing against precognition or anything like that.
Can't
But
make it
as
into
Danny says, it might be easier to
If
badly just...
we can inject it with the mag rail rifle again.
yeah, or a Gauss round if you 5.
Who would like to give us a broker check to pick up?
Me.
me.
Gani, I think you're going to get, if you want to pay double the cost, it's +1. Triple the cost is +2. It is a starport A, so you're already getting a +1 to this.
And what? I just need an 8?
Just need an 8, yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm going for regular price, please.
Okay, you got it. So +1. Remember,
so
don't
I
put the
get
plus sign in?
+1.
Yeah.
Just
Put a-
the 1. Right.
Did I scroll up here or something? Oh, I did. Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Yep. So you're able to find the whatever side drugs you wish to purchase. The ones with the crippling hangover effect, or the other ones, the less fun ones.
Yeah, so, Alonso, I guess this will be your decision. Do you want the special side drug, which does require you to make that roll or lose a side point and take lots of damage? Or do one below, which, as long as you only take one dose, does not require the check?
Oh man.
That one gives you +4. The one that forces you to make the endurance check, it gives you +6.
I mean, I think I'd like to not permanently destroy my psi abilities, but yeah, let's go with the weaker one. It's a less reliable, but
Because that's
Makes sense.
4,000 credits.
Yeah. Less chance of brain damage. So that's good.
Your brain exploding.
Yeah.
If the
You've seen
Dodani
scanners?
don't do it first.
Okay, so you purchase that then, guys. It sounds like, well, you have not. You have the princess's position on this. So how does that affect your plans?
need to
I don't know.
prepare, I guess.
I don't know.
Mentally.
He's still. I mean, I don't mind you guys still trying to negotiate for it. I don't think it will go well. I think they're going to try to manipulate you into another course of action, but you're putting yourselves at risk.
It sounds like, it almost sounds like we just did the tactical strike and grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's made it very clear that's what she wants. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know if the negotiation would confuse and complicate that strike.
Right. I mean,
I don't know.
if we're in the hangar and it's isolated and we toss smoke, maybe you could spoof like a fire alarm as well, or maybe prying eyes, and maybe it'll cause a little confusion.
Yeah.
Yuri
I-
snatches Evie, and then we open fire.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think
Once she is clear.
yeah, once she's clear, and I think we what's her phrase? We would not be surprised. We would not be surprised to note that there is absolutely no reaction at all to the gunfire from the authorities. We have license within this constrained operation,
Right.
and I'm afraid it's going to be taking them out.
Now, so we know Evie is a telepath. Do we know if she has other abilities? We don't.
Not sure.
No, we just know that she's. I'm not even sure we know that she's a telepath. We just know that she's psychic. Right?
Yeah, Solon said she's a telepath.
Oh, is there?
Well, so I guess I could. I don't know if are synthetics affected by psionic powers or like mind stuff, or is it? You know?
I am not.
Does anyone know? Okay. Well, okay. That's handy. Okay.
Then.
I don't like any part of this plan.
So then let's have this. We'll have Alonso. Why don't you give us a... So it'll be high roll is the one that arrives first. Alonso, give us a D6 roll. This will be for the Peerless Passage.
Oops. Here it is. Peerless Passage. Ooh.
And then we'll have Captain Gani. You were not here last time. Give us a D6 roll, please. High roll is for the... This will be for the Artisil Conveyor.
First.
The Artisil Conveyor will be arriving before about a day and a half before the Peerless Passage vessel. Which means you have 1 day to get your preparation done, and then the Artisil Conveyor will be arriving. And that brings us to the end of our session. Next session is going to be a little shooty, sneaky. So, first off, everyone gets 1 XP. And... should
I get a half because I was only here for half?
No, you shut up. This, late is always... I prefer folks not to leave early if they have to leave early, just because it affects the flow of the game. But late arrivals are always welcome. Because everyone's always happy to see someone show up late, right? No one wants to. Yeah. When people start leaving, that's when it affects the session. Yeah. So then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 10 of the Pirates of Drinax leg of our campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where you have channels dedicated to our Traveler campaign and the adventure. We've been talking about the adventure we've been running on Wednesdays in that as well as channels dedicated to most of the other games we run on the channel. There's Find Your Group, GM discussion, virtual tabletop chat, convention chat. There's a terrific, helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below.
I second that.
Nice. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games are the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. Like, what am I thinking of? What kind of hard-to-find RPG would they be able to find there, guys? I think The Dark Eye RPG, published by Ulysses Spiele. They have a wide selection of that game, as well as many other games. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Happy Muse Year. It's listed in the description of the video. It's easier to type than it is to say. It'll save you 10% in your purchase, and that'll change as of around April 15, 2025, at which time they will... change up. We'll have a new video, so a new discount code. If you're listening to this after that date, come back to one of our more recent videos and you'll see what the current discount code is. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart travelers. So James, Carl, David, Jeffrey, and Graham, thank you so much for joining us today. We had two. We weren't sure we were going to make it today, so it's great having a full crew back together. So now everyone, the blood is on everyone's hands, I guess is one way of looking at it. So then we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our travelers are encountering as they're trying to do the right thing in the floating city of King Oleb. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.